don't worry. Let me work in this case for 24 hours, and then we'll call in somebody else. You think it's a mystery now? Well, you'll see it tomorrow. Remember the Charlie Ross disappearance? I worked in that case for 24 hours, and they never did find him. They couldn't find me for 5 years.
It's the Marx Brothers Council Podcast.
Episode 92, NY a Duck.
Welcome, Marx Maniacs. My name is Noah Diamond. I am here, as always, but also as never before, with my co-host, Mr. Matthew Conium.
Thank you for having me.
Not to mention our indefatigable producer, Mr. Bob Gassell.
I haven't spoken to these many people since my bar mitzvah. So.
Today he is a man, folks.
But only today.
Well, we are very happy to be here. As you know, the big occasion is that Matthew Conium has crossed the Atlantic Ocean to be with us. Very glad Matthew's here. Very glad you are all here to join us for the first ever live Marx Brothers Council podcast event. As many of you will know, we attempted to do this in 2020, but as is so often the case, we were derailed by a global pandemic. We want to thank Matthew for not doing that to us this time.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah. But you almost had COVID the other day.
Yeah, I am just getting over something, and it would have been the only thing more poetic than getting COVID this week would have been if Bob and I decided to go to England. Well, we don't have much time, so we want to get right to it. I thought maybe a good way to get this started would be to talk about some of the ideas we abandoned. It took us a while to figure out what should be the theme of our first ever live podcast event. We thought of many possibilities. For example, the Marx Brothers Council Podcast, episode 92, 12 Blind Loves.
Or episode 92, Make Fredonia Great Again.
Or episode 92, No Starch Please, our deep dive into Groucho's laundry lists.
How about episode 92, a 3-hour discussion of the use of the word grouching in Finnegan's Wake.
Or episode 92, the Night at the Opera manicurist identified as a suspect in the Jimmy Hoffa disappearance.
Or episode 92, Full of Roaches or Not. We go to Nacogdoches and interview pest control.
Episode 92, Braised Eyebrows.
Or episode 92, how many prints of Go West can you destroy in a bathtub?
Or episode 92, Ruth versus Eden. Which of Groucho's wives would win in a fight?
I think we all know the answer to that one. Well, what we thought maybe would be a better way to start would be to just discuss the Marx Brothers a little bit. Are you guys interested in the Marx Brothers at all?
Yeah, that'll do.
Well, the last Marx Brothers movie I saw was Horse Feathers. Any fresh thoughts about Horse Feathers?
No. Shall I start?
Please do.
Right, five very small observations literally made while watching it, which will get progressively less interesting as they go along. Firstly, cut the cards.
Yeah.
He really does that, doesn't he? The guy very, very brazenly puts a solid pack of cards down.
I observed that too. The one thing I thought is maybe the cards were perforated in advance.
Perforated cards. Yeah.
The gag is, like many gags in Horse Feathers, originally from a show called I'll Say She Is, and it's possible that it was done on stage every night, which seems like it would have needed some kind of foolproof mechanism.
Yeah. Secondly, when Groucho sings and he goes, I always thought that was his cigar, but it isn't, is it?
No, it's a pitch pipe.
Yeah, and he's holding the cigar, and he takes it in and out of his pocket. Because first I thought, he's put a lit cigar in his pocket. I was very worried for him, but then I realised...
It wasn't a cigar, it was a pipe.
Nearly there, we're on to number 3 now, 3 of 5. A shovel, an axe, and a pick. Why do they need a shovel and an axe and a pick to kidnap 2 people?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The lecture that the professor is giving, he very grandiloquently says, "Here is the liver," and turns around and draws the crappiest liver.
Yeah. Yeah, you would think during Prohibition, livers would have looked a lot better than that.
That's right, yeah. And very lastly, and I know we have touched on this before, but it is worth bearing in mind again. This guy Jennings.
Oh, yeah.
So Huxley haven't won a game for, what is it, 50 years?
Yeah.
Right. So A, what odds is he getting?
Right.
And B, does he really need two ringers? And C, it's the only year that they do win. So what a sap that guy is. That's me.
This might very well be my favorite Marx Brothers film, except for the fact that this print is somewhat mutilated, as you saw for a big chunk in the middle there, particularly in that scene in Thelma Todd's apartment. And, I work in the media, so my eye and my ear are very much attuned to things that aren't right. So, I wish I could dismiss that and not be a part of my evaluation, but it's hard for me. I guess it's OCD or whatever. I just can't. I can't enjoy it as much as maybe Duck Soup or Animal Crackers.
It's always weirdly not bothered me too much. In fact, I don't even remember noticing it really the first few times. I just thought, all old films were like that, I guess.
Every time I see the movie, it bothers me less and less, and it always surprises me how little is actually missing. I think because we lament so much that there is any damage to horse feathers. But the truth is there's very little material missing from that scene. At this point, I find those skips kind of a charming reminder of the film's age. I did track, for the first time, I think, this is what happens when you watch these films hundreds of times. Anyone ever tracked Thelma Todd's mole in this movie? Sometimes she's got the mole and sometimes she doesn't, which suggests maybe the mole is a fashion choice, which she applies when she wants to, but she has it in the scene where she has just woken up. So it must be the first thing she does in the morning. You get up, you stretch, you reach on the nightstand for that mole, you put it on your face, then Zeppo comes in and puts jelly on a piece of toast that big, puts it right in your mouth while he's singing to you.
Mm-hmm. I find it funny that Monkey Business, Zeppo was the romantic lead, and this film starts the same way. You think, oh, he's the romantic lead again, and then it's decided that, no, he's not. He's just a patsy.
Yeah. And he's not even in the big mass wedding at the end. Yeah. And Chico is missing from much of the football scene because of an injury. You can see Chico kind of struggling to put his weight on one of his legs.
Yeah.
What had happened to Chico at that point?
He'd been in an automobile accident, hadn't he? But right back as far as the kidnapping scene, you can see one leg is much thicker than the other because he's got this brace on, hasn't he?
And that's why Chico's sitting in a chair while Harpo's getting beaten about.
It's a little dark.
The worst double of all time when they're running across the... I don't know if you spotted that, but an absolutely lamentable fake Chico goes running down the field.
They obviously told him to pull the hat down over his face, which makes him look even less like Chico. One thought I had is that Horse Feathers and Monkey Business together, I think, are the most cartoony of the Marx Brothers films. We always talk about the brothers as cartoon characters. They have so much in common with animated figures. And a surprising number of cartoonists worked on these two films as writers and gagmen. Not least among them was the subject of episode 91 of the Marx Brothers Council podcast, and one of my favorite figures from Marx Brothers history, Will B. Johnstone, who was the principal librettist of I'll Say She Is. I always wonder on Monkey Business and Horse Feathers which gags are directly from the Johnstone pen. It's always hard to know with things like that. Most of us wonder which stuff S.J. Perlman wrote, but I'm always thinking, what was Johnstone responsible for? We know that the Lord Alps those who Alp themselves from the classroom scene is a direct lift from I'll Say She Is.
So where would you guys rank it in your list of 13 Marx books?
I think, although there are some others that I love more, kind of warts and all, for various reasons, I think that is probably their fastest moving and most perfect film, I would venture to suggest.
A polite ripple of applause for that sentiment.
I know a polite ripple when I hear one.
I haven't had a polite ripple in years. Yeah, Horse Feathers number 2 for me after Animal Crackers. I think for the reasons Matthew just gave, and I was thinking about that watching it now. It really moves, and even more so than Duck Soup, which I think is technically shorter and arguably tighter. Like when Duck Soup is tight, it's tighter, but as an entire film, Horse Feathers is a little tighter than Duck Soup.
Duck Soup is a slow starter.
Slow starter, yeah. Maybe a sequence or two that has extra beats in it. One moment in Horse Feathers that is not tight, but I love how loose it is in Groucho's office, the gag with the seal. Takes Harpo a little bit of time to get that seal in and put it on the desk. And Groucho and Chico have to keep saying, "Where's the seal? Where's the seal?
Yeah.
Did you see the seal?"
It's done like they're on stage, isn't it? That was totally forgivable on stage, but on film you just don't need to do that.
It gives the audience time to think, "Oh, I guess Harpo's going to bring a live seal into the but number 2 for me after Animal Crackers, also, I'm not sure why, but I just feel as though I've seen Horse Feathers fewer times than my other favorites. So it is actually fresher to me. You know, I don't know what the numbers are here, but if I've seen Duck Soup, Animal Crackers, Monkey Business, and Cocoanuts, and certainly Night at the Opera, like 1,000 times, maybe I've seen Horse Feathers only 800 times. So it's practically a new movie for me. What about you, Bob?
Yeah, I'm going to put it at number 3. Animal Crackers is my favorite. As a film, it's obviously better than Animal Crackers, but I just love, the comedy scenes in Animal Crackers, maybe more because there's more of them and lengthier ones. But as far as a film goes, it's hard to top this. And like I said, the only thing maybe stopping it from being above Duck Soup is technical reasons like with before. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I feel Margaret Dumont, the greatest Marx Brothers movie has to have Margaret Dumont in it.
Groucho talks about how he's married.
You think that's her? Yeah, right.
I just picture Margaret Dumont at home.
Maybe she's Zeppo's mother.
Yeah.
Horse Feathers, of course, is one of the Paramount films, the first 5 films that the Marx Brothers made. And the location where we are having this event today is not incidental to that fact. This museum stands on part of the ground that is the Kaufman-Astoria Studio. This was Paramount's Long Island studio, and it's where the Marx Brothers made Cocoanuts and Animal Crackers. So it's very appropriate that we came here today to watch a film that was not made here. In fact, there's a lot of great films that were not made here, and I hope we get to screen them soon, too.
There should be a festival of films.
Films that were not made here, yeah. But it was certainly one of the Paramounts, and we all put Animal Crackers first on our list. And I think that's significant to Horse Feathers, too. It's the film where they revert to the Animal Crackers formula after really going in a different direction with Monkey Business. Horse Feathers once again reinstates a lot of the conventions of Rittenhouse Manor. What are some of those? You said Groucho in an authority role. That's one of them. Mm-hmm. Series of entrances for each brother.
Yeah, and slamming door stuff.
Big musical number at the top.
Big musical number for Groucho at the top. Musical numbers at all, which Monkey Business really doesn't have. Mm-hmm. Also, the idea of the brothers as being somewhat at odds with each other before the story brings them together, whereas in Monkey Business we meet them as a single force.
Yeah, which makes a bigger difference than you might think, actually, doesn't it? Because they interact in interesting ways in Cocoanuts and in Animal Crackers, and then suddenly they're an instant team in Monkey Business, whereas here they're back to sort of discovering each other. You can sort of see, particularly with Groucho, because I think Groucho's character is used to being the only person who does this. He's very, particularly in Cocoanuts, he's very settled into a groove of being, I'm the person who's in charge of behaving in this way. And then these 2 other people come in, and he's sort of unsure of them, which is lost somewhat in Monkey Business, and it's always a nice dynamic, I think.
Yeah.
In Animal Crackers, Harpo and Chico are given more of a reason to be there, more of a reason to exist. They're at the party as musicians. That's why they're in the room. I, of course, wasn't around during Prohibition. I'm not sure that dog catchers and icemen really had these kinds of partnerships. I also, incidentally, I'm not sure Mullen and McCarty were a great pick either. I mean, if you were looking for guys to help supplement a college football team, are those the guys you'd pick up? I mean, Harpo and Chico aren't that promising, but those other guys don't seem that great either. But I guess that's Darwin's problem rather than Huxley's. Should we think about introducing our first guest?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I was just talking about this location, the Museum of the Moving Image here in Astoria. One friend of the show, also a past podcast guest, had everything to do with bringing us to this great venue today. We'd like to bring him up and speak to him. He is the president of the Jim Henson Legacy. Our friend and yours, please welcome Craig Shemin. How do you like the game, Doc?
Hello.
So, Craig, tell us a little bit about the building we are in right now.
We are in, like you said, this used to be part of the Astoria Studios. It was parceled out in the early 1970s to become a museum. It took a while. The museum itself opened in 1988. But the whole complex, the Astoria Studios, was originally constructed in 1920. It was part of famous players Lasky, which then eventually became Paramount. Mm-hmm. And it was a studio here for Paramount until they moved all of their productions to Hollywood in 1932. And then it was used as an independent facility. And in 1942, it became an army facility making movies for military. Hmm. And that happened, that continued on to the early 70s.
So where exactly was Rittenhouse Manor? I mean, how far are we actually from that little staircase?
You're actually not very far at all. I'd say probably about 50 feet, as the crow flies. Stage E is the largest stage in the facility. It is still there. It is still in operation. Mm-hmm. And if you are on 35th Avenue, which is the street that we are on, if you stand in front, you can see the outside walls of that stage, the pillars. And when it's nice out, the restaurant Saks Place has an outdoor cafe, and you can sit and eat pizza and look up at what used to be Rittenhouse Manor. And it is still the second largest soundstage in New York City. It is only beaten out by one stage that's bigger at Steiner Studios in Brooklyn. And but it is still in operation. The whole complex is still active, although it's being foreclosed on. So if anybody has some money and wants to, it is still in operation, and many things are shot there.
We'll pass a hat round.
Yeah, including Sesame Street. They used to brag quite a lot that the Cosby Show was shot there, but they don't really mention it very much anymore. I don't know why. Orange is the New Black and other shows. The first big movie to be shot there when they were trying to bring it back was The Wiz. Oh. And there's some artifacts from that here at the museum. And it's while they keep on adding new stages and new facilities, Stage E is still there, and it's probably one of the sort of oldest sound stages in operation. And what's kind of cool is that the Marx Brothers commute still happens, because as I know, a lot of people here know that when Cocoanuts was being shot, Animal Crackers was still running on Broadway, and the Marx Brothers would shoot during the day and then go into Broadway at night. And my lovely wife, Stephanie DeBruzzo, when she was doing Avenue Q, she would work on shows at Kaufman during the day and then commute to the Golden Theater in the evenings. Although she took the R train, and I don't know, the Marx Brothers probably rode in Zeppo's car, or one of his many cars.
Do we have any idea where they were living at that point? Were they living by the studio so they would be here in the morning?
I think that might be when they were living in Long Island.
Chico and Zeppo were living in Long Island. Groucho at that point, I think, was already in Great Neck. And Harpo maybe had his Midtown apartment still. Harpo lived in the theater district for a good part of the Broadway years. Not sure by the time they made Cocoanuts and Animal Crackers. Yeah, he probably was still located near Broadway.
But yeah, and I'm sure Stephanie's not the only artist who continues to do that commute, because when they established that stage, one of the reasons that Paramount built it and was to have access to people who were performing on Broadway. Mm-hmm. And one of the other kind of fun things about the studio over there is that it was sort of leased and brought back to life by a real estate guy who happened to be named George S. Kaufman.
Yeah, what are the odds? That's why it's Kaufman-Astoria Studios.
And you can see that big gate, if you look out there. That was a relatively late addition. They decided that they wanted to have a, quote, back lot. And their solution to that was to get permission from the city to close off the cross street. And they put up a gate, so you now have an actual studio gate. And sometimes they do some exterior shoots there, but that one block of street constitutes the entire back lot of Kaufman-Astoria Studios.
Now, while they were making those films here, as we know, it was very difficult for them. They were exhausted early in the morning. They were doing a show late at night. We all know the tales of how Cocoanuts was very arduously squeezed out when they barely knew how to record sound. Surely that was hungry work. Was there anywhere nearby for the stars to dine?
Well, the commissary was certainly there and is there now. But I'll tell you that I worked on some shows there. And while it was the Kaufman-Astoria commissary in more recent years, it was an awful place to eat. It was just, it would seem like you go in there and anytime you ordered anything, it was like the first time they had heard of such a thing. And you'd go in and like, I'll have a cheeseburger, please. And they'd stare at you. Cheeseburger? So it was, because part of the problem is that they wouldn't put a lot of effort into running the commissary if there weren't a lot of shows shooting. Mm-hmm. And then over time, I know Stephanie will attest that Sesame Street brings in their own lunch. A lot of the shows bring in their own catered lunch. So what was then the commissary is now a restaurant that people can actually go to. You can go to. We were there a few weeks ago. It's called Sachs Place. And Anthony Sacramone is, I don't think he's here, but we left a ticket for him. Him and his brother run this very nice restaurant, and they were providing food to The Sopranos, which shot at Silver Cup nearby, and he ended up having a character named after him. So,
yeah.
But it's a great place to eat. And what's very interesting is that there is still decor from when it was the commissary. We saw a picture.
Tiling.
There's tile work on the wall and the floor, and it was identical to these vintage pictures they had up of stars eating in the 1920s.
Yeah, with like Valentino sitting in front of the same tiles. You could actually eat in front of the same tiles that Rudolph Valentino ate in front of.
Now, sadly, there is not a full tour of Kaufman-Astoria because it's very tough with all of the different shows that shoot there have very strict rules about access. But you can go to Sachs Place, and one of if you did go into stage E, you wouldn't see that much exciting. It's a big empty room. The one thing I did notice, Stephanie was able to get she and I a little visit there, and there is a projection window about halfway up a wall, not unlike the projection windows in the theater here. And it seemed like an odd place to put a projection window until you realize that there are real projection effects in Cocoanuts or with the beach scenes. So it seemed like it was still a remnant from the shooting of Cocoanuts to have that little projection booth.
I'm sure there's a few grains of sand still.
It's between the flooring. Yeah.
One thing I have noticed, though, and hardcore Marx Brothers fans will appreciate the significance of this, you'll notice that we haven't had to wet the paper. So technical standards have improved somewhat.
It's still recording, right? I just want to make sure that technical standards have improved that much.
Did you ever see any stolen jewels in a hollow tree when you were in
No, but there were 3 identical paintings that were all rolled up and stuffed into things.
Are you sure they were identical?
Well, one looked like it was painted by someone who just was an amateur, and one a better art student, maybe. And I do want to mention that people, while you can't tour the Astoria Studios, this facility, the Museum of the Moving Image, is a wonderful museum. I was showing Matthew around a little bit, and you can see some of the original equipment that would have been used next door. Early sound cameras and projectors, and of course, my favorite place is the permanent Jim Henson exhibition, which is up on the 2nd floor, and we have screenings every month. And I should probably mention that one of the reasons that we did not show Cocoanuts or Animal Crackers today was because the museum is planning on showing it later in the year as part of a big Astoria festival. So we'll spread the word when that does happen.
Yeah. So it was either Horse Feathers or Love Happy. So those were our choices. Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that. And we should just say how happy we are to be in this venue, the Museum of the Moving Image. Anyone in our live audience here for the first time? Yeah, quite a few. Well, welcome. It's really a great place, well worth visiting. And Craig can get you in anytime.
Yeah. The password is swordfish. It's kind of funny that this happened because Noah actually thought he was emailing me to see if we could try and put something together. And it turned out that he was actually emailing someone else in his contacts with a very similar name.
Yeah, I have more. I mean, of course, I'm a very important guy. I'm connected to lots of people. You don't think I only have one friend whose email address begins Craigsshe, but I actually do know 2 people like that, and I was emailing the wrong one.
And I, out of the blue, when I heard Matthew was coming, I emailed Noah to suggest we do something at the museum. And he was at first annoyed that I hadn't gotten back to him until he realized that I never received an email at all. And it was just serendipity. But I was actually emailing another Noah in my contact list that I work with.
So as you can see, we can barely even think straight. It's a miracle we're here today at all.
So why did that other guy not get back to you?
That's a very good question, yeah.
He was setting this up for MoMA.
That's true.
Right now, there's an empty audience at MoMA waiting for the movie to start.
Too many George S. Kaufmans, too many M.A. Well, during the filming of Cocoanuts and Animal Crackers, when the Marx Brothers were on the premises, we know that they were not that happy to be here. And yet one of the things we talk about the most in the Marx Brothers' work is the incredible joy in their performances. The main thing they communicate, as our friend Kathy Beale has pointed out to us, is joy. I think maybe it's even more so in the films which follow, maybe because they're comfortable in the medium.
Oh, and it's sunnier out there.
It's sunnier out there, yeah. One of the things watching Horse Feathers today I couldn't help but think is, oh, God, the guys are just having so much fun, even though we know Groucho probably wouldn't have admitted to that, but he's having a great time in the film, isn't he?
And I think part of the reason, I remember reading somewhere that the Cocoanuts was shot in January. It's not easy to get here in the wintertime. Now, I can't imagine in 1929 that there was a great time to get out here.
Yeah. Well, let's have a big thank you once again for Craig Shemin.
Thank you.
Oh, so we're getting to the much anticipated Q&A portion of this event, aren't we?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm sure you all know Mr. Brett Leveridge, podcast guest, friend of the show and of all of us. Brett will be managing the Q&A for us. The way we're going to work this is the questions will be asked from the microphone down here, downstage left. If you'd like to ask a question of any one of us or all of us, you can line up and we'll do it so it'll move quickly. In the meantime, while we prepare and while you think of questions and so on, we wanted to mention some podcast guests who are with us today, people who have appeared on the Marx Brothers Council podcast in the past. And we're very happy to be in the same room with you, too. Let's start with Mr. Trav S.D. sitting in the second row. a friend, a hero, a mensch, an artist, and a multiple times recurring Marx Brothers Council podcast guest.
Cinco Paul, who surely needs no introduction, which is just as well because I didn't give him one.
And we'll give him another one in just a little while. Cinco Paul, also a two-time guest on the Marx Brothers Council podcast. The aforementioned Kathy Beale, sitting in the front row. An important part of just about every Marx Brothers thing that's happened in the last 20 years.
Brett Leveridge, who we've
Brett
already
Leveridge,
mentioned.
yes.
Whose name rhymes with beverage. I've only just realised that. I could put you in a song lyric. Your name rhymes with beverage. Never struck me before. Yeah.
Beverage is a contraction for Brett Leveridge. And just our most recent guest, other than Craig, who was our guest just moments ago on episode 91, was Meg Farrell, sitting in the second row. Ethnomusicologist and the great-granddaughter of the great Will B. Johnstone. Meg Farrell. Oh, who's next on the list?
Heidi...
Heidi Ho? Heidi
Gazelle?
Heidi Gassell.
If you're a regular listener to the podcast, and of course you are,
Why else would you still be here?
you will probably know Heidi Gassell's voice, even if you don't know you know Heidi Gassell's voice, because she reads out our end credits.
I'll say she does. Mr. Pat McCahey is in the room somewhere. Pat has been on the show. Valued enormously to us, not only as a friend, but as a researcher who has helped us with numerous projects, including, in Matthew's case, some non-Marx Brothers projects.
Yeah.
Matthew, what is a non-Marx Brothers project?
Well, it's basically... I've no idea.
Yeah.
No, I wrote a book about Dr. Crippen, the celebrated British murder case. Always good for a laugh. And he helped tremendously with that. And at the moment, I'm writing a book about another celebrated British murder case, the Lord Lucan mystery. And I can't tell you how useful he's being on that, too. So wherever he is, and I can't... Ah, there he is.
There he is.
He is truly the most amazing researcher a boy could wish for.
And he's been incredibly helpful to me in not finding the manicurist. So.
And we wish many long years of not knowing who the manicurist is. And unless I'm committing the crime of forgetting or not being aware of somebody, I think the one more podcast guest in the room is Mr. Tom Rocks. Tom is here.
Oh, Tom. Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Tom has gotten closer than any of us to seeing the more complete print of A Night at the Opera that exists in Hungary. Is that right, Hungary?
Hungry, yeah.
I thought so. Well, thanks to all our guests. We could mention some of our guests who aren't here, but we haven't got time. You guys ready to field some questions?
Absolutely.
Keep it clean.
I'm going to start to
Wait,
test the
wait.
mic.
Yeah.
Are we good?
Yep. And everybody, please tell us your name and where you're from, if you don't mind.
And this is Brett Leveridge. I just had a quick horse feathers observation that I have to share. When they come in from the rough practice, and Groucho tells him he needs them to kidnap the other players, Chico is wearing football pants over regular trousers.
Yeah.
And I had never noticed that, but if they're very long, the football pants, and there's about 10 inches of regular trousers beneath them, and I thought that was great. Okay, let's start with the question.
I'm glad you didn't ask why, like we were going to.
Well, you said keep it clean, so... my name is Richard, and I'm from Queens, New York. I guess I've always felt Duck Soup was my favorite, in no small measure, because it actually doesn't have any musical numbers. So when I was a teen, I just couldn't be bothered with any of those things and found them very boring. But it's kind of interesting as I watch this film now. I actually liked it a lot more because it actually paces the movie out a little bit. This movie is really a breakneck, one after the other, coming at you. So it actually turns out like I kind of liked it a little bit more. And I've always been very interested in like what what were the decisions or the thought process from maybe the Marx Brothers or the producers of the film with regard to musical numbers? Because obviously some of them have it, some of them don't. Some of them have it in smaller dollops, some of them have it in larger. Like, I don't know whether they're commercial considerations or creative or what went on with that.
I think they always wanted to do their own number. I think the fact that they're not doing that in Duck Soup is not their decision. I think that was a decision made for them.
I don't think Groucho cared whether they were.
No, that's very, very... And it also, I wish Chico had sung more.
Yeah, Horse Feathers has a Chico solo.
Yeah, this number he sings here, he never does anything like this in any other film. It should have been a regular occurrence.
But certainly the imposition later on of musical numbers by people other than them would that's obviously a studio decision, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would make a distinction between the numbers that the Marx Brothers perform and the other numbers. I mean, in some of the later films, we do get a little tired of the musical numbers, but not when the Marx Brothers are involved. I think even Riding the Range and Go West is nice because Groucho and Harpo and Chico are part of it.
Hi, so I'm Mark from New Jersey, and I kind of agree with Bob about that scene with the sofa takes you out of the movie a little bit, although I'm sure we can all agree it's that they've cleaned up the frames that still exist, because I don't know if you guys remember when they used to show it, that it was completely unwatchable. But watching it now, it made me wonder, I mean, obviously it was the result of cuts that were made when the film was re-released, correct?
That's
so
our best
I was
guess,
just curious, is this what was shown? I mean, is this, or did they just cut the whole scene out? I'm wondering if you guys could speak to,
I think
if I went to the re-release, what would I have seen at that point?
There's still no certain agreement as to exactly what you're looking at there. There may be some censorship cuts in it, but obviously those really crude jumps and half sentences and things are not censorship. They are damage to the materials. So I presume.
Well, there's one line where Thelma Todd says, "Well, you overcome me," and Chico, I believe in the original, his response was, "Well, it was your idea," and that line has been cut out, and I believe that was a censorship line. And there's some things that are besides that scene where censorship was an issue. There was Harpo leading dogs into the truck by putting up fake fire hydrants and leading them into the truck, and that was something that the Hayes office sort of frowned upon in, I think it was 1937 when this was re-released.
And that's another one of the oddities, isn't it? And the majority of the not the damaged bits, but the literally missing parts, all seem to revolve around Harpo. Yeah. So there was some speculation at one point that they'd actually been clipped for a kind of a like a tribute reel or something. I think that's in Joe Adamson's book, isn't it? Possibly. He's not here, is he? So it doesn't matter, does it? No. But yeah, so you're looking at a mixture of things that have been cut out seemingly for no reason. I think a very, very small amount that might have been cut out for censorship, and then just a lot of damage, and nobody can find any better materials. There is always talk about uncut prints being out there. There was one certainly that did the rounds in Britain in the 1950s. Yeah. Harpo apparently had one of his own, which was lent out in the 1970s and never returned. There's just a possibility that someone is hoarding it.
And perhaps when the film goes in the public domain in a few years, it will
go public domain in 2 years, I think, and we might see it. It's just a tiny possibility.
That guy probably has humor risk too in his basement.
Yes. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Josh. I'm from Brooklyn. If you'll indulge me, I just want to say hello to my brothers Jeremy and Matthew, loyal listeners in California. They can't be here today.
Hey, guys.
Thank you for what you do. Following on the last question, Bob, you were talking earlier about the quality of the film, and I wanted to know your opinion about AI and its ability to fix these issues, and whether you think it's a good idea. Obviously, Turner did a lot of...
If you only knew what you were asking. Have you got an hour?
No. Well, obviously, it's a technology that's still in its infancy, and what it will be able to do in 10, 20 years is going to be remarkable. Right now, perhaps some minor fixes, like for the scene we're talking about in Horse Feathers, maybe AI could be used to replace some missing frames and some little bits, here and there. And if we had the complete script and we knew what was actually said, maybe we could use some AI to recreate the voices and maybe flesh that scene out. But I'm just talking about little bits where we know what was there and recreating them as opposed to creating anything new. I think that's the best possible use of AI at this point in film restoration.
Yeah, I agree with that. AI as a generative tool seems objectionable, but as a tool to help in restorations and in research, it's not that different from the tools we've been using already to do those things. It's just a little more sophisticated. And, you know, speaking of lost old films, I'm sure many of you are aware a Georges Méliès film was recently discovered that had been lost, like all of his films, fascinating. And it happens to be about a robot that develops intelligence and destroys its creator. So good timing that they just found that, huh? Thank you for your question, Josh.
I'd like to see it used to damage films that are actually intact.
Good idea.
A very untapped bit of potential.
Boy, that's a good idea. We could all make a list of films we'd like to see more damage done to, couldn't we?
Hi, I'm Steven. I'm from Queens, and I love the podcast. Thank you very much. Are you ever going to do a Ritz Brothers episode? The Abbott and Costello episode was fascinating just to hear you talk about. But anyway, just planting that seed. But
is that a serious question? Are you a big Ritz fan? Because there aren't many.
I would like to be, but there's just not. They don't have the same.
Right.
Well, maybe you should do
they
one.
Don't have you guys.
Maybe you should do one. I mean, when we started, it was just like a labor of love. We didn't know how many people were going to listen, but we thought if we get 50 or 100 people listening, that's fine. So just do it, and you'll find the people who want it will find you.
No, I just
come on,
and
get
that's
up here.
not
Come on,
even what I wanted to discuss. I want to know if anybody's noticed, if you've ever noticed that when Groucho and Chico are at the bar, that there's a character actor next to them who was in Scarface.
In Scarface, yes.
Who isn't an extra when he's in a movie. He has lines. Do you know if there was exchanges or anything in any script you've seen of this film because
No, that's a great question, but I don't know.
Yeah, he's definitely.
I don't remember seeing any extra lines in that bit.
Interesting.
This was the first time I noticed there was a little dog there. When Harpo does his he'll take a scotch, there's a little dog at the bar who's frightened by him.
When you see things projected, you notice little details, even with a good transfer. But anyway, all right.
I noticed that when Groucho gets the $15.22, he takes it all and runs. He still doesn't pay him. I thought he was
going to pay him out of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'd never noticed before, as far as I recall, that immediately following Harpo's harp solo, it cuts to Thelma Todd in her apartment, and there's a mirror off to the side, and she kind of looks at herself in the mirror before beginning the scene. It feels like a slightly unplanned, vaguely coconutty moment before the action begins.
That's it.
And thank you very much for the question. Also, speaking of cameos, we might mention Arthur Sheikman, another one of the great Marx Brothers writers, appears briefly in Horsefeathers. He's the man sitting next to Groucho during the "Okay, Mr. Moskowitz." That's Arthur Sheikman, Groucho's good friend and one of the Marx Brothers writers.
Hey, I'm Joe from Brooklyn. I just have a really basic question. I've seen this movie so many times, and I keep meaning to Google it, but now I will ask you. What is a college widow?
Yeah, that's all yours.
You literally wrote the book on this.
You literally wrote the book on this, yes.
Well, I never knew that either. It was always, when I was growing up, when I was a kid, it was one of the, one of the most mysterious things, because they don't say, it's not like her nickname. It's just something that she's the college widow, as if every college has one. And what it is basically she's a love 'em and leave 'em person. She's that's what it means by widow. She has loads and loads of boyfriends who she discards basically, and it's kind of sexual partners, and I don't want to offend anybody. But
well, mostly college students.
College students, and it was a thing. It was a cultural thing. There was a play called The College Widow, which was made into a movie. Which I think was that the one that has like a Horsefeathers-y type of plot involving a football match and a boat on the lake and
seemingly Horsefeathers is partly a parody of that play, which I think was by George Ade.
Oh, wow. Thanks.
So they don't hit the college widows anymore, right?
No, you'd be crazy to fool around with her. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. Bill Carlin, Patterson, New Jersey, like Lou Cristillo, correct?
Yes.
So, first of all, welcome, Matthew.
Thank you.
To the United States. Is this your first time?
It is, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
How did you find it?
If you think I'm going to fall for a feed line like that.
Okay. This gathering, the Laurel and Hardy fans, they had their tents. This kind of reminds me of that, but
Yeah.
on the internet or whatever. But now we're physically together, which is nice,
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it would be barrels for Marx Brothers fans.
They never considered the foreign language with sound, like Buster Keaton or Laurel and Hardy. Imagine Groucho doing German, but they have to rewrite the puns,
Yeah.
Makes sense in German.
Because Groucho could do that, didn't he?
Did they all speak German?
Yeah,
All of them?
Groucho certainly did.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there's even video of him singing
Or
in
Chico
German.
could do
Ist
an
das
Italian
nicht ein
accent
Schnitzelbank?
German,
Right.
And Harpo's silent, of course, and Zeppo, he'll just do what he can.
Yeah. Zeppo did speak English.
I know. Oh, okay. He doesn't do it very well, though.
Or very
At
often.
least acting, Maybe he's better in, just social situations.
I doubt it.
Not, behind the scene or, not in front of the
Still
camera.
doubt it.
Okay, this is kind of my main point. Groucho sings, I always get my man, but he doesn't get the right football players.
Yeah, right.
So, actually, he's doing what he said in the first part of the song, or the second song.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he immediately contradicts himself
Right.
in great
And
Groucho
does
form.
throughout the whole rest of the film, with everything.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for your
very
questions.
much.
Wait, who's this? Who's this?
Hello. I am Bob's daughter, same place where he's from.
What's your name?
Can I?
What's your name? What's your
Dad,
name?
Can I have $10 to order 2 different drinks, a quarter each? I want to try it from Uber Eats. I think Uber Eats is a lot easier. No, in real seriousness though, I see that there are a lot of references that I notice, in modern media that are like, love letters to this movie. And I just want to know, what are your favorite, like, specifically Horse Feathers or Marx Brothers related, like, references that you've seen recently?
Oh, that's a good
Or-
question.
Yeah.
I wish I was prepared with an answer.
That's a great question.
Well, there's certainly loads in Jim Henson's stuff. I remember being amused when I was a child at Sesame Street had a news report from Horse Feathers County, and I thought, it was one of those very, very early occasions when, you think, there are actually other people out there who like this stuff. And also somewhere here is Cinco Paul, who, if you've ever watched the Minions movies, you might have noticed a few references in those.
Yeah, I always am aware of Marx Brothers references in the films of some of their spiritual descendants, like Mel Brooks and Woody Allen. The Marx Brothers have been so influential on comedy that I think comedians who aren't even aware of it were influenced by the Marx Brothers, and you can see them almost anywhere where you see comedy. MASH, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Larry Gelbart, who was the creator of the television version of MASH, was a big Marx Brothers fan, and he actually wrote for Groucho in a 1971 TV special with Marty Feldman. Yeah, he actually admits that he patterned Hawkeye's pattern on Groucho.
Groucho's habit of addressing the camera, too, he was arguably the first to do that, although in the silent era, comedians used to glare at the camera, Oliver Hardy and his burn and so on. But actually speaking to the audience in the movie theater, the way you would have spoken to the audience in a theater, that's a pioneering thing Groucho did that becomes, very common in meta comedy going forward. Mm-hmm. When he does, insults Chico's piano solo in progress during Horse Feathers. Always a great moment, even when you know it's coming. It's surprising that he has the gall to do that. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maddie.
Thank you.
Madison Gassell, folks.
My name is Maddie, yeah.
Hello, I'm Chris from Manhattan.
Hi.
I was wondering if you could tell us what you know about when Amelia Earhart visited the set of Horse Feathers.
Nothing.
Oh. Thank you very much.
Well, we know she did
Pleased to
visit
help.
the set, and there's photos of her with Harpo.
Now the second most notable backstage photos taken on horse feathers. Okay.
That's right.
Do we know much about?
No, all I know is that she visited the set. We know those photos are remarkable. There is conjecture that Harpo and Amelia Earhart might have had a relationship. It seems there are reasons to believe they didn't. But in Harpo Speaks, he talks about the three loves of his life who are all named Fleming. We know who two of those Flemings definitely were. The third, who Harpo describes as an aviator, named June Fleming, there doesn't seem to be any trace of that person in the record. So one wonders, gee, Harpo had a love affair with an aviator, and there are these pictures of him with Amelia Earhart. Maybe that's the story. But at this point, you know everything I know.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Big fan of her work, though.
Hi, my name is Seth Sheldon. I'm a human rights attorney and a Harpo.
We all know
imitate.
Seth Sheldon doesn't speak on stage.
Oh. Actually, well, nobody else used their real names. I mean, come on now. I'm unafraid. My name is really John J. McKinney. Born and raised.
So you are John J. McKinney.
No, it's not true. Born and raised in Pittsburgh, but have lived in Cleveland for the last 40 years. And I just want to ask you, Matthew, why did you start the whole damn thing? And how did you get Noah to kind of join in?
No, blackmail in that case. Yeah. I have photos of him that you don't want to know about, basically. But if you do, email me it was just one of those totally accidental, no planning involved things. I was doing a little Marx Brothers blog that 6 people were reading, but one of them was Bob. And Bob said, "Why don't you go on Facebook?" And I said, because, but he then went to my wife and said, get him on Facebook. So I got onto Facebook, made a Facebook group, and lo and behold, thousands of people joined it. I wish I knew why.
How did you get Noah?
How did I get Noah? How did I get you, Noah?
Well, you looked into my eyes, Matthew, and
that was quite a get.
I think I actually kind of came to Matthew. I was in the early stages of my work on the I'll Say She Is revival, and I wanted to get to know the online community of Marx Brothers fans. And that's kind of how I found Matthew's blog, where Bob had already become a star of the comments section. So the three of us kind of found ourselves in the same room together. And I think separately, the idea of doing a podcast had maybe occurred to all of us, and we decided, rather than compete, why don't we do this together? Thank you, John.
I'm Shay, or Maddie Shay, or the manicurist, from New Jersey, New York, and now Maryland. So I'm a lifelong Marx Brothers fan, but you all much better at research than I am and know a lot more, so maybe you can answer this. Did he ever sell the police dog? Is there a sequel we haven't seen? Or
if you watch after the credits, there's a little sequence where they address that. Usually we end the movie before we get to it.
My name is Lou. I'm from Morristown, New Jersey.
Hey, Lou.
There actually are pictures of Amelia Earhart and Harpo, but unfortunately they were on the plane with her. My question is for those in the audience over 60. How many people, when we first got computers and they asked you for a password, how many people, their first password was swordfish?
Yeah.
And to the state. Oh,
Okay.
no.
Matthew, I hope you get to see some of New York. I hope they take you to the Empire State Building and the Statue of Liberty and all the things that we New Yorkers don't really go to.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you, Lou.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you to all those who asked questions. Sorry we weren't able to answer any of them. And now we're going to bring up a special guest. I feel he's already been introduced. So why don't we just say his name along with his current credit? Our friend is now a Broadway songwriter and librettist. We couldn't be happier about this, and I don't think anyone is happier than our friend, Mr. Cinco Paul.
Am I supposed to stand?
Hold on. Yeah, well, this.
Is Cinco supposed to stand? I think it would be respectful if you would stand. Yeah. We just want to say what I was just talking about. Schmigadoon, the television series which had 2 seasons on Apple TV and is, in my opinion, one of the top highlights of the entire streaming television era, is now a Broadway musical, currently in previews, opening April 20th at the Nederlander Theater. Schmigadoon. Go see it.
Yeah.
So, Cinco.
Yes, Noah.
How does it feel?
It's a dream come true, but it is, since we're talking about the Marx Brothers were on Broadway, and they ruled Broadway, and they were like a massive, massive success there. So that, even though, Schmigadoon comes from my love of musicals, it's also part of the excitement is that I'm there where the Marx Brothers were as well. So that's pretty cool. It's a dream come true. I can't even believe it. It still feels kind of surreal, but it's very exciting. Go see Schmigadoon.
Go see Schmigadoon.
At the Nederlander.
So we've had lots of guests on our podcast, and we bring people on and we get them to talk about various aspects of the Marx Brothers and their careers. We had you on, and we made you watch Skidoo.
Yes.
So
you did.
I just wanted to say sorry for that.
Yeah. Yeah, Scott Alexander got to do Horse Feathers, I think.
Yeah.
And I got to do Skidoo, so...
Yeah. However, that's one of my favorite episodes, the Skidoo episode.
It was fun. We had fun.
In no small part because of Cinco's participation in it. If you have not heard our Skidoo episode, it's a wild ride. I'm not kidding. It's funnier than the film.
Low bar. That's a low bar.
Yeah, let's clarify. You don't have to have watched the film to
Yeah.
listen to the episode.
No, you don't.
You'd be better off if you didn't.
Yeah.
So.
Would I be correct in telling our audience that episode of our podcast is the only place anyone can hear the story of how you saw Timothy Leary urinate off a balcony?
Yes. That's the only place. It was when I was I was an intern, just starting in Hollywood and trying to make my mark, and I was invited to a Hollywood party because I was one of the interns at the company, and there were all these celebrities there, Barbra Streisand and I don't know, Jeff Goldblum, but the only person I really talked to for any length was Timothy Leary. And in the middle of our conversation, he just unzipped and urinated off the balcony. There you go. Tune in, turn on, and pee out. I don't know.
And was it sort of rainbow colored?
It was dark. I was averting my eyes, so I didn't notice.
And the first episode of the podcast that you joined us for, Cinco, was very early. I think it might have been our 6th episode.
Wow.
Which was all about the Marx Brothers and music.
And music,
which was an appropriate subject to have you on for. Tell us about the Marx Brothers and what their music in particular has meant to you and if it's influenced you.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that I grew up playing piano from the time I was 5, and as soon as I discovered the Marx Brothers, I tried really hard to play like Chico. I mean, I learned I tried to learn many of the songs by ear. I wrote my fingers are not as tough as his because I just would rip them up trying to, glide down the keys. But that was a big influence, and I always was trying to learn to play like Chico. And then I will say in Schmigadoon, there is a moment when the mayor introduces himself that is very reminiscent of the Marx Brothers style, like that sort of speaking style, from the songs that are in Animal Crackers, for instance, or the captain is a very moral man, and it's that sort of a pompous person. There's a fanfare, and then the mayor comes out, and that's very much a little homage to that, because Animal Crackers was a Broadway musical, so it's fair game, I think. Yeah.
No question.
Well, we're going to have you sing a final song up here in a couple minutes. And before we do that, well, we just wanted to, you could set up over there.
Okay.
And
it's a complicated setup.
Okay. Yeah. And we're just going to take a minute and thank everyone here for coming. This was a dream of ours for many years, and we're so glad that it actually came to fruition. Thanks to everyone who made the effort to come out here, and thanks to Craig for making this happen. And
you can't thank Craig Shemin enough, I feel. Thanks again to Craig Shemin, as well as the Museum of the Moving Images, Michael Koreski and R.J. LaRussa. We really appreciate it. Your hospitality for this event. And to Matthew for making the crossing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have a special announcement that we wanted to make that we were holding off for this particular episode. iPop 3D has put out a version of the Cocoanuts 3D last year when it became public domain, and Animal Crackers 3D release will be coming later this year, and we've been asked to do the commentary track for it, which will be our first ever commentary track, and we're going to record it next month, and so hopefully
for the longest time, people have said to us, "Why don't you do DVD commentary tracks?" Well, now you can find out why.
And we'll be doing it in 3D.
Yeah, we'll do it in 3D.
Okay. So you want to,
ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cinco Paul.
Everyone says I love you. The cop on the corner and the burglar too. The preacher in the pulpit and the man in the pew says I love you. Oops. Everyone, no matter who. The folks over 80 and the kid of 2. The captain and the sailor and the rest of the crew says I love you. There are only 8 little letters in this phrase you'll find, but they mean a lot more than all the other words combined. Conium and diamond too, and even Gazelle before the bum withdrew. They had me on the podcast and made me watch Schmigadoon. But Marx Brothers Council podcast, I love you.
now I want to call Heidi Gassell to the stage.
Where should I go?
Are we ready here?
Testing. All right.
Ready?
All right. The Marx Brothers Council podcast is produced by Bob Gassell. Matthew Coningham's books, including the annotated Marx Brothers, the annotated Abbott and Costello, and That's Me, Groucho, are published by McFarland. Noah Diamond's book, Give Me a Thrill, The Story of Alsatia is published by Bear Manor Media. To leave a comment and for more info about this and all episodes, visit us at MarxBrothersCouncilPodcast.com. For the latest Marx Brothers and podcast news, look for us on Blue Sky and Twitter. And join the fun! We're the largest and most vibrant Marx community online, a club that will have someone like you as a member. The Marx Brothers Council Facebook group. That's it for now. Swordfish. That's it, you guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.